What's that smell? It's innovation. Hi guys, and welcome to another episode of The Cognitive Entrepreneur. It is a beautiful day out here. I've just started my diet. It consists of strictly onions, strictly ham. People don't realize that onions and ham, you can live off that and nothing else. You will gain muscle mass, stamina, fluid thought process. These are things that all the scientists are raving about is this onions and ham diet. I feel like I've increased my brain strength by about 17% with these onions and hams. It's doing wonders. I have been having stomach cramps, but that is a small price to pay to have mental fluidity through the onions and ham. So I completely recommend that you get on this diet. Yeah, I feel like a new man. I feel like a stronger man. Today we're going to be talking about what is the future of innovation. What sort of innovative trends are happening that you really should be getting on, that you should be surfing these waves of innovation that are coming along. It is so crucial to not look at the present. It's, I would dare say, sacrilegious, blasphemous to look at the past. Forget the past. Past is done, already happened. Can't change the past. Why bother looking at it? Why even teach history in universities? I think it's ridiculous that this is a curriculum. If I had my way, I'd get rid of the history department. I would abolish the history department in all schools. Forget the past. Dump the past. Burn the past. I would say burn some history books. We need more space. Think about the future. The present is also important because that's, what's happening now. If you weren't in the present, I don't know. I don't think you'd exist. So that's kind of important. But the future is what is the most important. So many people don't realize the future is going to happen. The future. So that's what we're going to be talking about today is future trends. These waves, like I said, these tectonic waves that are engulfing coasts, disrupting coasts. I would say a tidal wave is a big disruptor. So it's like, say there's a big city on a coast. Forget the city. Get ready for a little disruption. Get ready for a little disruption because that's what's going to happen with this tidal wave of innovation. The key, though, is to sniff it out. You have to smell innovation coming forward. I pride myself on a good nose. I can sniff that out. I can sniff out what the future of innovation is going to be. What trends is this? Like generally, what'll happen is I'll look at the trade mags. I'll look at the internet. I'll look at all this stuff. I'll gather all this data, these data sets, these data blocks, and ingest them into my cognitive cortex. So I have the raw information. That's where the brain works. Next, you gotta get the nose working. You gotta shove your nose into this data and go, oh. I'll get a trend and just put it up. Oh no, that stinks. This innovative trend stinks. I want no part in this. And then I'll move to the next trend. This next innovative trend. I smell a little disruption. That's how you need to be. You need to be sniffing it out. Some of the greatest innovators I know, they're just walking around sniffing all the time. They're just walking down the street sniffing. And some people are like, why is this guy sniffing all the time? Are his allergies bad? No. He is sniffing innovation. He's smelling the future and saying, all right, what smells good? What smells putrid? I gotta smell it. I gotta jam my nose in there and get a good whiff of this disruption. So that's how you need to think about things. So otherwise, you're gonna be a caveman. Nobody wants to be a caveman. That's a thing of the past. Cavemen, there's no place for cavemen in the future. Absolutely not. We're getting rid of them. That's a fact. No cavemen in the future, thank you. You have to sniff better than your competitors. If your competitors are sniffing things out, you might want to take a look and say, hey, what's going on over there? I want to whiff. And they'll be like, no, this is my scent. And then that's when you say, get out of my way. I'm getting a whiff. So that's how you need to think of as an entrepreneur. Get as many whiffs as possible of this disruptive future. So I'm going to let you know what I've smelled of the future. What innovations I think are going to be exploding in the next few months, the next few years, the next few decades. I want to crowdsource my nasal cavity. I want to let you in on what I'm smelling, so that you can get on these innovative trends as well, and we can all work together and create such incredible disruptive waves that wipe out cities. So let's get into it. What is one trend I think is going to blow up? Bitcoin. Bitcoin, 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 Bitcoin. Now, I know what you're probably thinking. Bitcoin, everybody knows about Bitcoin. My friend got into Bitcoin and lost a bunch of money. Cognitive entrepreneur, are you falling behind the times? Are you becoming a caveman? I don't want advice from a caveman. I should kill you. That is not what I'm saying. Bitcoin is very much alive and it is thriving. I'm just going to break down how I see Bitcoin exploding all over people's faces. First off, I'm just going to say this. Cash and credit cards are dead. So are checks, so are bank accounts. I've said it. You should be getting rid of them as soon as possible and placing all of your savings, life savings, into Bitcoin. A lot of people don't know, what the hell even is Bitcoin? I'm going to explain this to you. This is how Bitcoin works. Bitcoin is a decentralized digital currency, DDC. That means that cash is no-go. You don't need it. You don't need it in the real world. It all comes down to blockchain. All your money goes into the chain, and you need to create a strong chain of money. This is how the chain works. If you have a loose blockchain, there's a sever in between the chain. If you don't have a strong chain, then that's when the money disperses into different blocks. And then that's when, so you need to have this strong blockchain in order for your Bitcoin to work. Data blocks right here. These data blocks create the chain, which ultimately creates what is called a Merkle tree. A Merkle tree is a bunch of blockchains that grow. In order for the Merkle tree to grow, you need to be paying attention to the blockchain. In order for the blockchain to work, you need to pay connection to the connections between the data blocks. I know what I'm talking about. Trust me, because I know these words. Cryptographic cash. That's the core. The blockchains and data boxes. That's important. Trust me with this Merkle tree. It is bountiful, my friend. The fruit is ripe. The juice is flowing. The tastes are exquisite from this Merkle tree. So you need to hop on that. It can go up. They're not looking at the big picture. Huge mistake. Huge mistake. So yeah, I mean, it's a very easy concept. But yeah, that's the key to Bitcoin. It is imperative that you get on it now, otherwise you might die. Another trend that I think is really taking off right now, the weed industry. It's a hot ticket. People don't realize how much people are token up these days. It's a boom. People say, oh wow, the app boom that I was a part of, that was quite a boom. No, that's the marijuana boom is going to make that look like child's play. Everybody in the world is smoking now. It's crazy. I walk down the street and people are lighting up. They're blowing smoke in my face. They're lighting up on the streets. They're lighting up in the libraries. They're lighting up in the schools, the government institutions, courts, playgrounds, airports. Everybody is high. I think the whole thing was exemplified to me when I was at a board meeting for a nonprofit. CEO comes in He's wearing a suit. He's a respectable looking man, gentleman. He sits down at the head of the table of this nonprofit. He lights up a blunt. He lights up a blunt in the middle of this board meeting. I'll say this right now, not a single person batted an eye when he did this. And that's when I said to myself, wow, this thing is going to take off in a big way, and I want to be on the ground floor. And the strains are becoming so strong now. I see people just smell it on the street, and they just start going bananas. They start running into these establishments, yelling at people, saying, "My God, I'm blazed out of my gourd." Because somebody smoked a joint 3 blocks away. That's what I hope the future is. So it is crucial that you invest in the marijuana industry. Otherwise, you might die. Another innovative trend I think is taking off, robotics. I got to give it to Japan. They are way ahead of the game on this. Japan, there's more robots in Japan than humans. Which I think is a very beautiful thing. I think there should be. Robots, mechanization, automons, they are blowing up. And for you to invest in that is important because, I mean, you really could die if you don't invest in that. Robots become very angry if you don't invest in them. So not only are you investing to make money back, you're investing to make sure that the robots don't become angry at you. Sometimes when I see a robot, I'll just start throwing cash at it and tell it, hey, tell your descendants, tell them not to kill me. Because the thing is, the robots in the future are going to be very strong. They're going to be extremely furious. They are going to be angry at us. Extremely angry, and I want to make sure I'm ahead of the curve on that because I don't want these robots to rip me apart limb from limb. So I'm investing in them to make money, but I am also investing to make sure that the robots won't kill me. Another great thing about mechanization and robots is, as an entrepreneur, you can inspire your workforce to become more productive through the concept of mechanization. For example, an employee comes to my office and says, "Hey, look, I'm really sorry to be asking for this, but hey, I've got 3 kids. I've got one who's going to college. I need a raise. Is there any way I can get a raise here?" I will look at them in the eyes and say, "How dare you? How dare you ask for a raise? This is outrageous that you would do such a thing. How dare you look me in the eyes and ask for this? I could replace you with a robot like that. I'll bring in the automation at the drop of a hat if you ask this for me again. Now get on the floor and bark like a dog, like the dog you are, for asking me for such a raise. This is disgusting display. I could replace you with a robot whenever I feel like. And I'm doing this out of the kindness of my heart, and you came and slapped me in the face. Bark like a dog. Get on the ground and bark. In fact, call your father and have your father come here and watch you bark like a dog in front of me. I want to see the look on your father's face as I threaten you with automation and you bark like a dog. I want to see the shame fill his eyes as he sees his children bark at me, bark like an animal, and I threaten them. It fills my heart with warmth whenever I do this. And I do it often. So automation is happening in the workplace, and I think it's a positive thing. So invest in automation, invest in robotics. Otherwise, you're definitely going to die. The robots will kill you. Another innovation that I really think you should be investing in is really sharp, rusty stabbing devices. Now, you're probably thinking, whoa, why should I be investing in sharp, rusty stabbing devices? Next year, I guarantee it, the government is going to ban all guns and barge into everybody's house and take their guns away. This is a fact. That is why you should be investing in sharp, rusty stabbing objects. The demand for that is going to go through the roof. Societal collapse is going to happen. That's a fact. Everybody knows it. Whether it's the next 1 year, whether it's the next 2 years, 3 years at max. It's going to happen. You're going to want as many sharp, rusty stabbing objects as possible, because eventually the other people are going to be like, hey, whoa, I need some food. Looks like your house has got some food in it. I think I'm going to take your food, and maybe I'll take your life too. That's when a sharp, rusty stabbing object will really be beneficial in that sort of a situation, because there's only so many sharp, rusty stabbing objects that exist. The demand is going to increase. That is the key to supply and demand. So invest in that. That is crucial. Otherwise, you'll definitely be dead. You will be dead, my friend, if you aren't investing in sharp, rusty stabbing objects. The key is to make sure they're as rusty as possible, because that's what makes them scarier. If somebody came at me with a rusty object, which, people have before, when it's rusty, that's when I'm like, okay, now I'm a little worried here. If it was just a huge machete or something, I'd be like, oh, well, just another Wednesday for me. But when it's rusty, that's when I'm like, okay, this person means business. That person is a real cognitive animal. So those are the innovative trends that I really think you should be hopping on. Otherwise, you'll be dead within the year. I hope this helps. I hope this has increased your cognitive nasal cavity. It is so important to be able to have a good nose in this business. And if you can get some surgery even to increase your smell strength, that's a new thing that's happening in Silicon Valley, actually, is that people are getting implants, nasal implants, in order for them to be able to smell better. I would definitely recommend that. It's about $200,000. I think it's well worth it. I'm going to do a shout out to my podcast again, Business Money Hacks. I do it with Dustin Hahn. He has one of the best noses in the business. He can smell innovation from 50 miles out. I'll be talking with him and he'll go, and I'll say, there's some innovation on the horizon going on here. So definitely check that out. I'll link it at the bottom. Business Money Hacks, incredibly important podcast. Again, link, subscribe at the bottom to The Cognitive Entrepreneur. Leave a comment. I'll respond to the comment. I will respond to comments because I care so much about you. I like to think of you all as my children, and I am a father wearing a suit of armor and standing before his children screaming, get on the cognitive bandwagon or I will strike you down. I created you and I will destroy you. I hope that helps with some of the innovative trends and keep that nose smelling.